Oh man, it's early morning, ain't it? What's going on, YouTube? How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Kensou. And today's topic from Discord, one of my supporters. Shout outs to the boy Kensou. And his question / topic for us today to go over is getting back into your flow of things, getting back into your flow state. You know, when you get hit by certain things, sometimes things in fighting games or whatever we're playing kind of throws us off, and it takes us out of our, it takes us out of the zone. So how do we, get back to, getting back on track and playing our best, right? So essentially, I could sit here and talk to you guys about flow state, and maybe I'll make a video on flow state later on, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube about flow state and essentially what that is. But the long short of it is your body's relaxed, your mind and your whole body, like your mind, your hands, everything's working as one unit. It's all cohesive, everything's working. You're thinking more instinctually, you're reacting properly, and you're just boom, you're just laser focused, you're in the zone, you know what I mean? And sometimes when we play, things happen, especially like for those of us who play low HP characters or play high damage games or what have you. Things can kind of go wrong, and it makes us second guess ourselves. We start thinking, what do I do? Do I do the right thing? Do I clam up? Do I play more aggressive? And the answer, honestly, to those things is they're all pretty much correct. But there is one thing that you can do, and it's something that's helped me over the years, right? Whenever things go wrong, I think it's best, or it's more so advised. I would say it's more advised for you guys to take a step back, breathe, even mid-match. You get hit by some 60% damage combo. Once you get through the Oki situation, or knockdown situation, if you will, once you block that out and you return to neutral, it's okay to take a step back up, return to neutral, and think about what's happening. Think about what you got hit by. And I know that it's a lot to think about and a lot to take in such a short period of time, but you have to recollect yourself sometimes and recompose yourself. Acknowledge that you got hit. Accept that you got hit. Accept that you took this damage or you took this risk, and this put you in a situation. Now that you've gotten out of it and you can return to neutral, now you can think about your next plan of approach. Now, granted, if you're at a life deficit, obviously there's going to be some point in the game where you have to take a risk and maybe get back in there and try to reestablish, the life lead, if you will, or try to even out the life. And sometimes that's not easy, right? Especially if you're playing against a really good defensive player, et cetera, right? But the idea is, you still have a lot of time on the clock, barring how the match is going, maybe meters in your favor. Guilty Gear, you got burst in your favor, meter and burst. Times in your favor. There's many things that are that can work for you, so you have to look at the screen, reassess what's happening. Just because they have a life lead doesn't mean you can't make a comeback or you can't outplay your opponent, right? So, and another step to that is also, if you've lost a game, it's okay to go back to character select or give yourself time to think and breathe and recollect yourself that way. If you couldn't do it in game, it's okay to do it and reflect right there after you've lost the game. So if you're playing in an exhibition or a tournament set, what have you, it's okay to take that moment to recollect and reflect, because these things are what makes some of the greatest comebacks. These are the things that help players kind of break through and become the player that they want to be, because they take that time to recollect and think about what's happening. Because a lot of times people, they just rematch and just go at it again. It's just I'm gonna just rush him down this time. And it's sure, that can work too. That doesn't mean it doesn't work, but what it does mean is that you didn't give yourself any time to think about it. Thinking is a big part of fighting games, a big part of competitive gaming in general. Thinking about why you lost, etc. It's just a way for you to, again, I'm gonna keep stressing this, you have to reflect on what killed you. You have to reflect on what put you in this unfavorable position in the first place, what got you feeling uncomfortable. And once you've assessed those things and taken that deep breath and acknowledge what happened, then it's okay to hit rematch and get back in there and then try again. Of course, when you're playing casual sets, maybe not so much, this is going to really bother you. But when you're playing in the more high pressure tournaments / exhibitions, this is something you want to consider, because like I said before, some of the greatest comebacks have happened because people have like decided to take that moment of, you know, of reflection at that point in time. And I understand in a tournament situation you don't really get that much time to reflect, but it doesn't mean you don't do it anyway, right? So coming back to it, and once you get that, you know, once you regain your flow, and it'll all come back to you, you know. And at that point again, you have to remember that there's a couple other things here I want to mention too. Is there other things to note when it comes to this, and there's two types of damage, right? There's the damage that you see that, you know, happens with your character on screen, right? The damage that you take with your character, and then there's also mental damage, right? You don't want to mentally damage yourself just because you got hit, you know, or just because things went wrong, right? Because again, that's when we start second guessing ourselves. That's when we start like, man, I don't think I can do this. We start bringing more negative thoughts into our mind. You know, we start thinking more and more about not playing our normal game, you know. And I can't stress it enough. Like, even though you get hit, it doesn't mean you stop playing your game. It doesn't mean that you stop using your tools, right? So take, for example, you're playing a game, you use one of your favorite normals that you know is really strong in a set matchup, and this person keeps hitting you for it. Does that mean you stop using that normal? No, that means you need to find a way to use that normal against them as you play. Just because they're hitting you doesn't mean you stop using it. It's still a strong tool, and you know it's a strong tool in the matchup. Don't allow them to seal away your options. You have to not lose this mental, right? You don't want to, because like I said before, these things affect your flow state. These things affect how you play. Because one thing you don't want to do is, again, you know, you don't want to lose that mental game, because then it turns into emotions. You know, you want to play with like very little emotion. Like, some people play with their heart and totally understand, right? I think it's best, you know, in my opinion, to play with less emotion and more off of feel, more off of reacting, more off of just being more instinctual. You know, because when you play more instinctual, then you start to, you know, you basically mitigate your chances of using your emotion in the game. Use your emotion after you win, you know, pop off or what have you, right? But while you're playing, you need to be, I think it's best to be emotionless and just focus on what's happening and just keep readjusting. So it's not easy. I know it takes time. Understand it takes a lot of experience to get to that point where you can play and feel like less emotion and just focus on what's happening, or, you know, get back in that flow state. You know, it takes time. It takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of losing, to be honest with you. And I guess the easiest way to put it is it just takes a lot of experience, right? So the more experience you have, the easier it'll be to get back into that flow state. And, you know, it takes time. It takes time. So don't get mentally guard broken. Don't take the mental damage. Just keep focusing, keep reassessing. And, you know, as I said before, you will find yourself, you know, in a better place as a player moving forward. So keep that short and sweet for you guys. Don't want to take up too much more of your time. Don't forget to drink your coffee, because I should make sure I do that too. And yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this topic in the comments below, or if you have any other topics you want me to cover here on Coffee with Kensou. I will be glad to do so, because this is a very fun little video series I enjoy doing. So yeah, let me know. And with that being said, let me go ahead and get up out of here. I will catch you guys in the next video. You know what to do. Subscribe, all that good stuff. You know, do it.